Hey everyone, this is Matt Holden, co-founder and CEO at CarbonSuite, and today we're going to be looking at our corporate carbon accounting module. And basically what this is this is the Suite app that lives within your NetSuite system that allows you to track information related to your organization's sustainability impact. So it allows you to do your own kind of sustainability reporting and your carbon accounting directly within your NetSuite system. So we'll get into a demo of the solution here. I'm just going to take a quick minute to review the overview slides, just so we're on the same page about what we're looking at here. So a couple of videos ago in the series, I did an overview of the sustainability journey and kind of how CarbonSuite and the different modules that are available can help you navigate the different stages of your own sustainability journey. So today we'll focus mainly on step 2. This will be really focusing on your corporate greenhouse gas emissions and your corporate environmental data tracking. So this is going to be our corporate carbon accounting Suite app that we'll focus on in the demo today. And then a little bit of a reminder and a refresher on kind of what this module is, but it's built inside of your NetSuite ERP system. And basically what it helps you do is collect mostly quantitative data related to your environmental footprint within your organization. So that'll be data related to greenhouse gas emissions, energy, waste, and water data. And what the system is doing is a couple of things. It's using AI to actually extract data from your NetSuite transactions, and it eliminates the manual input of that data. And then what it does is it intelligently maps your data to what are called emission factors. And with those emission factors, it helps you basically make the calculations that are required for this type of reporting. And then the frameworks that it's built on are largely the GHG protocol, the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, and the Global Reporting Initiative, GRI. These frameworks allow you to disclose your environmental impact in various ways after the data has been calculated. And then from here, you can use this data to model your emissions and reduce your impact over time. Okay. So within the demo here, I'll focus on again, just the corporate carbon accounting module for this particular demo. As we progress through the series, there'll be some live looks at some other solutions from CarbonSuite as well. So I'm logged into my NetSuite account here, and you'll see that I have a role that's been defined in the system called Carbon Controller. This Carbon Controller role allows me to access the NetSuite system, but also access data required for the carbon accounting process, but also to see data related to financial transactions. So if I come into for example, the lists that are relevant for carbon accounting, we've got various different data sets, scopes, source types, units, different greenhouse gases, these types of things. But then you can also view the NetSuite data, which again is, I think, a big advantage of CarbonSuite itself, is that you can see the list of customers, vendors, items, expense categories, accounts, right, directly in the system. Same with transactions. You can see the vendor bills, expense reports, credit cards, invoices, data that you may need to look at, but obviously not edit. So under this role, I have the ability to view this data, but I can't actually edit it directly in the system. So I'm on the home dashboard. Just a quick look at some of the features and availability of reporting within NetSuite. You have pre-built dashboards to show you emissions by different category, by subsidiary, by scope, things like that. So these are actually, this dashboard's built using native NetSuite functionality. It's the analytics workbook functionality, rather. And you have the ability to use what comes pre-built out of the box, but you can also open these up in the workbook and customize them on your own. So you have the flexibility, again, to use the CarbonSuite features, but as well, because the data is built and lives inside of NetSuite, you have the ability to use the standard NetSuite reporting capabilities and analytics as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the CarbonSuite or the Carbon Accounting functional dashboard here, come to our next page. Okay. And this will give you just a quick view of your emissions data that's in the system. So what's happening as we go through this module is basically your NetSuite ERP has lots of different transactions. A lot of them are on the purchasing side, some of them are on the sales side. But what we do is we categorize those into different scopes and different categories within the system. And then we figure out what the greenhouse gas emissions are. And then we can also tell you what the other environmental impacts are if they have relation to energy, waste, or water, for example. And this dashboard is one way to look at the data. There are other ways to see the data in pre-deployed safe searches that we have. So you can see all emissions by different types of scope, gas, greenhouse gas, emissions by vendor, and then you got your wastewater and energy consumption as well. So lots of different ways to look at the data once it's actually been calculated within the system. And then another thing to note is the ability within CarbonSuite to use your pre-existing data structures within NetSuite. So one of the things you'll do in your NetSuite implementation or when you're setting it up is you'll set up objects like subsidiaries, locations, departments, things like that. And for your carbon accounting and for your sustainability reporting process, you'll need to reference those same objects, right? The subsidiary, you'll need to reference the location, right? So with CarbonSuite, since it's all built inside your ERP system, you get to leverage that one set of data, that one master set of data for both your financial accounting and your sustainability reporting processes. So very powerful that CarbonSuite is able to leverage this type of data and use it for its own reporting as well. So our process follows a protocol, the 3R protocol that we have, record, report, and reduce. And basically what this allows you to do is capture the data from the system in an automated fashion. It allows you to report it directly out into your stakeholder requirements, and then have different strategies to reduce emissions. So I'll just open these one by one and kind of explain what each of the pages do, and we'll take a look at some of the functionality as well. So within record, you've got your emission sources and your emission workbench. Your emission sources are basically a master data record that maps your NetSuite data to your different emission calculation methodology, right? So we have this kind of in-between process that defines what the structure is of the sustainability information as it relates to your NetSuite data. The emission workbench is a feature which we'll spend a bit of time on in a minute that basically allows you to automate the collection of the data from your ERP and make the calculations directly in the system. Under report, we've got several different options. We have saved reports and saved analytics. These again come from the core NetSuite functionality of safe searches and reporting. And then you can also publish a kind of more external facing GHG, a greenhouse gas emissions report, as well as other environmental impacts. So that's kind of on the reporting side. And then within Reduce, we've got reduction strategies. We also have lots of different partners that can help to help you with offsets and other kind of approaches to reducing your emissions. And so after the data has been collected, then you can really start to action on it within the system and externally with our partners. And then finally, within setup, we have a concept called GHG periods, which is similar to your financial accounting reporting periods, but basically this just allows you to manage the posting and the non-posting of data in the system relative to what is which periods are open. So you can decide, when the month is over, for example, to stop posting your sustainability impacts for that particular period and close the period down. As well as org boundaries and custom mission factors are kind of custom setup pieces, which we won't touch on too much today. Those are available as well. Okay. So now that we've seen all the different tabs, we'll go spend just a bit of time then looking at the emission workbench and a couple different transactions here. Okay. So this is our page that really manages the functionality and the automation within the system. And so basically what's happening is you'll post your NetSuite transactions just like you would on kind of a normal day-to-day basis. And the CarbonSuite engine, the intelligent engine in the background, is going to be analyzing those transactions and then generating what are called emission records in the system to record the sustainability impact. Okay. So taking a look at just some of the data that's landed on here already, you've got emissions that are posted in the form of kilowatt hours, in the form of US dollars, Australian dollars, kilograms, right, and in different categories. So the system is smart enough to understand from the NetSuite transaction what the unit is that's relevant for this emission calculation, and then it uses that to make a calculation related to the sustainability information. Okay, so we'll look at one example here together. Let's scroll down to, let's go to this example here and pull it up. So I've edited an emission that's already been posted. Now this emission record, it's got several different impacts. It's posted different greenhouse gases. So this would be your carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, all in tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So that's one of the environmental impacts that it posts, but it also understands that for this particular transaction, you've got 35,000 cubic meters of natural gas that was consumed for this particular transaction. So the emission record is showing that there was some environmental impact from this bill, from this NetSuite transaction, right? So basically what the system has done is it's found this bill, and I've just opened this up on another tab in the screen, and it's using the intelligent engine, it's found a relevant emission source. We mentioned emission source just a couple of minutes ago. Basically what this record does is it maps your sustainability data to your NetSuite ERP data. So it's found a relevant emission source, and then it's recorded the activity data and made a calculation in tons of carbon dioxide equivalent for this particular emission factor database. So again, these are all concepts that we can help your team out with if we do get a chance to interact with you. But these are the various different elements that are required to make the actual calculations in the system. So I'll open up the bill in another tab in a second here, but basically what it's done is this record has used our AI functionality as well. So it's scanned the bill, it's found relevant information, and then it's posted it to the CarbonSuite ledger in the NetSuite system. Okay. So just looking at my guy over here. So looking at the bill inside the NetSuite system, this is just, again, a standard NetSuite bill. It's a vendor called True Gas here, and you have your expense posting in the system to a utility account for $48,000. Let's say this one's in Victoria in Australia. So basically all that the user has done is just recorded this bill inside the system, and this could be either done directly inside of NetSuite, or it could be posted from a third-party system, either with CarbonSuite. So the bill is posted inside of NetSuite. It records the financial impact, but what we are really interested in with CarbonSuite is the environmental impact, right? So I'll open up this bill on my other screen here and zoom in a bit. So for this particular, this is a natural gas invoice. We have the financial charges here, but what we care about mostly is the actual consumption data. So I'll pull the screen down to here. And so what our system has done is it's found this vendor bill, found the associated attached PDF, and it reads the cubic meters of natural gas consumed from the bill. It can also read this in gigajoules consumed, basically just energy units. And it figures out that many cubic meters of gas were consumed just by the AI looking at and scanning the bill, right? Okay. Oops. So coming back into my NetSuite screen here, we've seen that the gas bill has been recorded. On the carbon accounting tab, this is where we'll store data and information related to the transaction that's posted. In this case, it just posted a GHG or greenhouse gas transaction, and then it'll tell you all the relevant details about that posting. the activity amount in cubic meters, and the total emissions in carbon dioxide equivalent. Okay. So this is the process for any type of transaction that can be posted in the system. So that was for a gas bill. It could also be for electricity bills that are in kilowatt hours, for example. It could also be for amounts spent on particular items, right? So in this case, it's the amount spent on stainless steel tubes. In this case, it's the actual kilograms of units purchased. So there are various different ways to collect the data from the NetSuite transaction. It could be the financial amount, the activity amount from the PDF, or it could be the quantity from the NetSuite transaction directly. And depending on what type of data it is, it'll generate different types of environmental transaction postings. Okay. Now that was for vendor bills. You also have the same concept for expense report and expense reports and credit card transactions. So within your expense report, this is more typically for business travel and different types of activities related to movement of employees. And so in this case, you're mostly going to be, the system's going to be analyzing expense reports and then posting emissions related to either how many kilometers or miles they traveled, how many liters or gallons of gasoline that was consumed for that transaction, or the number of nights stayed at a hotel. So various different ways, again, of pulling this data in. But the idea is that each one of your NetSuite financial transactions is going to create an impact in the sustainability ledger from CarbonSuite. Okay. So when you're in the system, this is going to be your main method of recording your data. And again, it's scrubbing through your NetSuite transactions. It's pulling this all in, and then it's totaling it up on the dashboard here. And you can see your different emissions and how they're posted within the system. Again, there's different ways to slice and dice the data. You've got your saved searches, so I could open one of these in another tab where it's really showing a full view of your emissions data. In this case, this is all the emissions posted in the system. This, again, just uses a NetSuite saved search, so you can edit this, you can customize this on your own. This is all kind of classic standard NetSuite functionality that our system leverages as well. And then finally, if you want to generate some kind of more public-facing or client-facing environmental reports, one of the things you can do is publish your GHG report, and I've got this open another tab here. And really what this is an example of something that you could publish out of the system that's powered by CarbonSuite, but you can really start to show, what data is most relevant to you, your greenhouse gas emissions inventory, energy, waste, water consumption, and then details about the methodology right within the system. So I'll just kind of scroll through here a little bit slowly, but again, this is one of the ways that you can display the information. It tells you the different frameworks that we use to report the data, tells you, a bit of information about our emissions, scope 1, 2, and 3, things like that. So when you get into a space when you are ready to start actually disclosing your data and your information, this is something that you can generate from the system and kind of publish it externally for your different stakeholders. All right, and then finally, the last piece I'll show before we wrap the demo here today is your GHG period management. So basically what this allows you to do is close and reopen, if needed, periods from that record your emissions data. So in this case, let's just start with January of 2024. It'll give you a quick checklist to validate that all your transactions are posted correctly within the system. You have the ability to lock the period. The system will give you a little warning there, and then lock it so you can't post to it. And then you can afterwards close the period and close it from being able to be posted to altogether. So there are various different checks and audit control procedures that the system has that kind of helps you to manage the data more accurately. And again, if you're going through an audit of this type of data, either for a mandate or for any other kind of disclosure that needs to have third-party assurance, the system will track all the information related to the transaction postings, record edits, everything like that in the system. It uses NetSuite's best practices for tracking audit trail against your transactions. So rest assured, the sustainability information that's posted in CarbonSuite is going to be kept under the same scrutiny that your financial data is within your ERP system. Will help to ensure traceability and strong audit protections for your sustainability information. So that's a wrap on this piece here, the corporate carbon accounting module. Again, pretty quick demo just to give you an idea of how things work in the system and how the system is going to be analyzing your NetSuite transactions and publishing the corresponding carbon and other environmental impacts from those transactions. Let me know if you want to learn more. Please feel free to check out our other videos on the topic as well if you want to learn more. And thanks so much for watching with us.